Welcome back to Scoundrels, Inc., where we're talking about Return of the Jedi.
I thought it was Revenge of the Jedi.
I liked our other intro better.
They changed it. Well, that's. I know you liked it. But
I think the fans would like our other
intros are a point of view, Sean.
Well, if you are tuning around, but yeah, if you're also tuning in, consider hitting the subscribe button. We just reached 300 subs, so that was very nice. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And if you haven't subscribed and you're watching us, maybe just hit that subscribe button right now.
Do it
right now.
We'll wait
right now.
We'll wait. Sean,
all right, thank you. I think they hit it. I think we're at 1 million right now. Yeah, the thing.
We need to call attention to it every time.
Yeah, we got to, right?
Yeah, Frank just put up the thing. If you're rejoining us, don't worry. We always come back after that thing Frank does.
Oh, the title.
Yeah, but it's got like music and it like.
Yeah,
it like has that.
It's our own, Star Wars.
Well, sort of. I mean, I'm sure.
It's like to me, it's like the aesthetic of Rogue One. We can't talk today.
We can't.
The aesthetic of Rogue One, but it packs the punch of a Clone Wars intro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And a little bit of Rebels.
A little bit of.
That was my initial thought with the track I got. It sounds a little more rebel-y, Star Wars rebel-y. I don't know. Anyways, we're not here to talk.
Speaking of rebels,
yeah, exactly.
The rebels strike out against the hidden base of Death Star 2.
Was that its official name, Death Star 2, or like Death Star Junior?
I think its official in-universe name was DS2.
Wow.
They said, make the Death Star, but make it just like a little bit bigger.
We're making the sequel, guys.
Why is it a little bit bigger than the other one? Why?
Maybe they perfected the roundness.
But the first one, you could already blow up planets with it. So if you make the next one bigger, all you're doing is creating more mass, and then you just got to burn more fuel to go into hyperspace.
Do you think they care? About
so I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
What if the extra size was for more reactor space for the main laser? Because one thing we see in this movie is they're able to alternate the laser firing speed. Also alternate the angle of firing of that laser.
True.
So my theory is that the added size was in order to compensate for two things. How long it took to charge up the laser prior in order to destroy a planet, and in order to compensate for the Galen Erso flaw. So probably some sort of additional radiator system or venting system to handle the thermal output.
Because they had Galen Erso was the best engineer they had, so without him, the only way they could figure to make it work without that flaw is by making it bigger, because they're amateurs.
Right.
Yeah. I'll also say you could also just pack in more troops and ships, and
How many troops and ships you need?
I mean, they're the Empire. They always overcompensate.
Yeah, but we don't see any capability of the Death Star to handle the docking of Star Destroyers.
No, because the thing's not finished, for one.
Right, but DS1 was finished and didn't have...
Maybe do we know that DS2 did not have that capability?
We don't.
How do they combat the massive gravity of it? Like, if you're someone who's, like, standing on, like, the lowest level, like, the bottom of the orb, like, what even is the bottom? Is there an up and down?
Yeah, exactly. You're in space.
Yeah, but, like, no, because they have, clearly have artificial gravity.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But how would you in terms of relative to the
we don't know. We don't know that the hemisphere doesn't shift the gravitational point.
I wonder
we have only ever seen people in the upper hemisphere of the Death Star.
What's going on down there?
Yeah, what's really down there?
The steerage.
What is the Emperor hiding? What is Sheev hiding down there?
Right. Okay, well...
Tell us your secrets, Sheev.
We will obviously talk way more about the Death Star 2 battle above the Forest Moon, but let's start off with the start of the movie, because I really like the way we come back into the universe after The Empire Strikes Back. There's obviously been some time. We go back to the droid's point of view.
You like the most problematic scenes in Star Wars?
Dude, do I?
Okay. All right.
No.
Which is those?
Jabba's Palace.
Well, no. I mean, here's what I'm saying about the reintroduction is that we're just kind of on this regular run-of-the-mill adventure time type of mission that they're set out to tackle, rescuing Han and ostensibly Chewie and Lando eventually, and then Leia. So like everybody has to get rescued.
And the droids.
And the droids, yeah. Like they basically almost get jailed on purpose, although that wasn't, I guess, Luke's plan, really. Although he had a contingency with R2, it seems like.
You don't think so? Because they kind of did the Wookiee prisoner.
Yeah, but I think like that was part of the contingency. Like if Luke could have killed Jabba right there and then, when he first meets Jabba,
I think.
right?
Hold on. To be clear, I think Luke's plan was initially to negotiate for.
Oh no,
Han's
100%.
release. Okay.
But once he goes for the blaster, you think he's gonna still try and
You're right
negotiate
about one
with
thing.
Jabba?
You're right about
Have
one
the
thing,
blaster?
Sean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Negotiations were short.
They were short.
they were
They were
short.
very short.
But like I said, I love this reintroduction to the character. You get everybody in the first 30 minutes.
Who's your favorite background character in
the palace?
the palace?
Max Rebo.
Max is great, but
Hit it, Max.
Mine's a Monomon.
Bless you.
And if you don't know who a Monomon is, look him up. He's the best. I've never noticed him in the background until I knew he was there, and then I was like,
I don't know that I have a favorite background
Is it
character.
Gamorrean Guard?
the Gamorrean guards, yeah?
Not Gamorrean Guard. Gamorrean.
No, Gamorrean guards. That's where Gamora is named after.
Okay.
Because they're both green.
Both green. Yeah. And she is adopted, so you never know.
Yeah, she could be part Gamorrean. Well, we've
Yeah.
never seen a female Gamorrean, so that might be what they
Oh
look
my
like.
gosh.
I thought we have.
I'm sure we have, but it's
Isn't like one that gets like thrown into the Rancor pit a female?
I don't know.
I seem to remember like a female scream.
Well,
don't know.
Ula gets thrown down there.
I should have watched this.
You ever seen this movie?
You've never seen this movie?
He's never seen it.
I thought just Book of Boba Fett would have covered it for me. Are they the same Gamorrean guards from the Book of Boba
No.
Fett? The ones that get choked?
Potentially, actually.
Why would a Jedi use Force choke? I've
See,
always
this is actually, I'm glad you
about
brought this
that.
up because
Let's talk about this.
I want to ask you, how do you feel about Luke in this setting going towards Jabba and force choking the Gamorrean guards? Because I feel like, or not Anakin, but Luke is channeling a lot of Anakin, and where I feel like Luke's a little arrogant here in terms
Yeah.
of, you should have bargained, Jabba, like my power, like you don't get it. I can do stuff to you.
Yeah.
He's like, just surrender.
And
All right,
Jabba's sitting there like, I've dealt with Jedi before. Shut the hell up.
Yeah, exactly.
I've dealt with real Jedi before.
Yeah, okay.
You've
so
been
I'm
trained by a ghost and like a little green dude on a swamp for like 30 minutes.
a ghost and a guy that just died of old age. I'm sure you didn't get the most. Yeah. I'm of two minds about this, Frank. My first answer is I don't give a shit.
Sure.
I don't care, right? Because from a filmmaking point of view, I don't know that it was done in a way that was like force choking is inherently evil.
Right.
I think that was something that's much more fleshed out later on. My second thought is, and that's a way, before I get to my second thought, and that's a way to show his power, right? The growth
Sure.
of his power, because we've seen what the most powerful Force user we've seen previously is Vader,
Right. Who uses
who
force choke
uses Force choke. So
a lot.
it's a way of showing, hey, this is Vader's son, and now he's using the same
Yes.
technique at the same level of efficiency.
I will say, real quick before we move on to your second one, instead of what makes him different here between Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan uses Jedi mind trick, right? Luke could have done the Jedi mind trick and been like, he can pass, but he opted for the quick and easy path.
So
Force choke.
here's my
Which does draw the parallel for him and Vader, I agree. So on a thematic level,
Yeah.
you start seeing that.
well, and the black robes are
Yes,
meant to
yes,
signal
yes.
kind of the same thing.
That just looks cool.
Well,
I mean,
right?
it
It
does.
absolutely looks cool, but it's
Slimming.
also meant to. The only characters we've seen in all black are villains.
yeah,
Anakin, but before.
Well, but I mean, up to that point in.
he had some brown in there. It was like the
Yeah, and
under,
Anakin's
the
robes
under,
are really more brown and gray than black.
but like in Jedi, but in
in the dark, they look black.
they do, yeah,
right.
But yeah, you're right.
Everything looks black in the dark. Turn out the
It
lights.
depends on your point of view.
My second point. I don't think it's explicit that he's choking them.
You don't.
He's like,
I mean-
isn't he doing this? They're kind of,
He's like,
and they fall over.
yeah, they grab their neck as if they were being choked.
Right.
So
I know, but it's one of those things where it's like, I think that
Oh, it tickles.
There's something else. There's something else.
Tickling us.
There's something else like this.
Force tickle? Come on.
The Emperor killing Padme, right? Like it's one of those things. It's one of those things where like Lucasfilm's never like made a real stance on it. Like as far as like, yeah, he was choking him, but whatever. It's just one of those things where it's kind of there. You know, we have to live with it. I don't know. I don't mind it.
No, that wasn't really my question about it. It was just more of like what you think of Luke in that moment going towards like I said, I feel like he was coming in there pretty arrogant because he has these new powers that he's been developing, force choking the Gamorrean guards, telling Jabba he should bargain. That's where I'm getting at.
But so my other point with the force choke is that he's also using force push because he is moving them back.
Okay, sure.
Right, because they do that weird backpedal.
Well,
out of his way.
I mean, this is really semantics,
right?
I mean,
and that's I guess
whether he's like pushing them back and choking them, or the main point there, I think you're supposed to draw from it is that he is using the Force to choke them, the way Vader has choked other Imperial officers in the previous movies.
But up to that point, it was not used. You know, because Vader and Luke were really our only two Force users that we had seen for extended periods of time. And the only time we see Obi-Wan use the Force is using the mind trick, right?
Right.
So, to me, I guess, at that point in the Star Wars film canon, Force choking is not inherently evil. To me.
But the idea of choking, isn't that... If you choke someone, is that like a good thing to do to someone? You know?
Listen, Frank, I know quite a lot of people that view choking as a good thing to do.
I guess context matters.
In the right context, right? But also, if you look at other action movies, right? Sometimes the hero will have the option of choking out the opponent, or outright killing them, right? The difference, I guess, is that Vader always chokes to kill.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah,
to kill or torture.
Yeah.
Whereas Luke kind of wasn't doing it to torture them. He was just kind of like almost choking them out, moving them out of his way.
Sure. Okay.
Incapacitating them.
I can see on that.
Yeah. I guess that's my ultimate point, right? It's not inherent that it's a force choke in the same way that Vader's force choking. It's almost like a force Vulcan. What's Brandon? Help me out here. The grip.
I think it's just like a Vulcan grip. Yeah, I don't think there's like another name for it. It works.
The Volky Donkey. Yeah. So that's I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
And I don't see any issue with him going to Jabba and being like, you know, I'm a powerful Jedi. Because part of the strategy there is if the Jedi are gone and suddenly there's a Jedi, you know, it's through later works that we know that Jabba's had other interactions with Jedi and all that. You kind of have to take these movies for when they were made and for the context in which they're made. To me, at least.
Sure.
I can think of one other time Obi-Wan used the Force.
Yes.
Doesn't he use it when he's on the Death Star?
Yes.
He like makes a sound like down the hallway.
He does.
Sure.
Trick the stormtroopers.
The tractor beam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like goes like,
clink. What was that? Must be another Drell.
But I do agree Luke is arrogant in this act of the movie. He's a little full of himself, I think. But what I find interesting about that is he does have a character arc where at the end he's much more humble and he understands what it really means to be a Jedi Knight. But I feel like a lot of Star Wars fans, when they think of Luke Skywalker in their mind, they think of first act Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, this overconfident, badass guy. No, I don't. Maybe I think more of Empire Strikes Back.
I think more of... Actually, I mean, I really do think of Luke at the end of Return of the Jedi. That's how I see Luke. Kind of more of the pacifist than someone going out, like, antagonizing, you know.
I think this is the most interesting film for Luke as a whole.
Sure.
Right? Because...
Well, outside of Last Jedi, I would say. Because Last Jedi is a very interesting one for Luke as well.
I still take this one.
Okay.
He does use the Force tickle in The Last Jedi.
And the reason I say that is because it is Luke as the main protagonist.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
Whereas, you know, Luke in The Last Jedi is almost Rey's obstacle to overcome. You know, it's he's there in order to present a...
Rey's the main...
He's there to move the plot forward.
Sure.
Right? Whereas in this, he is the one moving the... You know, he is the plot. You know, or I'm saying that backwards, right? He is the vehicle to move the plot forward in this movie, and he is a conflicted vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think that we are meant to see him be conflicted. I think were this movie made today, we would see even more emphasis on the conflict in him. Because the amount of conflict we see in Rey in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker is 3 to 4 times what we see with Luke.
I feel the good in you, the conflict.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no conflict.
Yeah,
there is only Zool.
That's the wrong.
I like it, but
yeah, I don't know. This movie, like Luke's arc throughout this movie is so fantastic, and where he ends, he truly is, ready to be that Jedi Master by the time he ends, right?
Definitely.
He has such a different I think he has such a different understanding, and I do think it took his conflict with Vader to show him that.
Yeah.
So because even what we see with him on Andor, the way he's acting when he's on the actual moon of Andor is a pretty. Are you kidding me? God damn it!
They can't hear that actually.
I know.
There was a car. Maybe you did hear it. I don't know. There was a car honking.
Frankel had a car alarm,
which is funny because I'm right next to like a McDonald's parking lot, but I so easily tuned that out. I didn't even think of it until you brought it up. I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. Anyways.
Guys, we're filming this from the McDonald's podcast studio. This episode brought to you by the McDouble.
Nice.
If you buy a McDouble and put a McChicken in there, you get a McGangbang.
Yeah.
Buy your McGangbang or your Land, Sea, and Air.
Damn. Yeah, they had that.
And McDonald's.
Yeah, that's right.
If the LA Kings score a goal in the McFlurry Minute, download the McDonald's app.
Is that a thing?
Is that
It is. I just went to the Kings game the other night.
I didn't know they did it for the LA Kings. I know it was like for the. Anyways, never mind.
The last minute of each period, the McFlurry Minute.
That's great.
Wow.
Actually. That's so great.
You got to use the app, and it's only at participating McDonald's.
Of course.
Do you know which? Well, we'll have. You know what? I'll tell you what. Kings fans, we'll have a link in the description with all of the participating McDonald's, so you know which ones you can go to.
So just Los Angeles area, probably. Anyways.
I always love when we could sidetrack Frank.
I know, just like
because we have no problem getting sidetracked. It's this guy.
No, I'm the one that's gonna bring it back onto the track. So if I get sidetracked, then we're really screwed. Anyways, so Brandon, your final thoughts on Luke arrogance was
yeah.
So now we get to this spot where Leia tries to honestly, this movie probably overall has some of the best alien language spoken. I think it's like some of my favorite. I think in terms of like how repeatable it is. I don't even have to know what I'm saying. I just like thinking
Veda.
Like when C-3PO goes up to the door, like that whole interaction is great. 3PO is like at peak 3PO in this movie.
Oh yeah, this is 3PO's best.
Yeah, and R2 as well. I feel like for the trilogy here.
Do you see why I say this is my favorite Star Wars?
It's
all of our okay.
100%.
So this film is all of our characters at peak that character, right?
I would disagree with Han.
I would disagree.
Really?
I think Empire's peak Han.
This one goes there. That one goes there.
You might be correct, but some of the because I think Empire has so much bigger focus on Han.
I guess what I'll say is I think Han is my most favorite of Han and Empire, whereas 100% Han is really completing his arc.
Yeah, this is really where Han kind of comes into his own.
But in terms of like peak scoundrel Han, I think it's in Empire.
Right,
is where you see
this. This I think is where we have Han really level up to be general.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, he's like 100% committed to the cause.
He's a hero in this film.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't think this is peak Mon Mothma. I think we get her in Andor.
Sure.
Peak Mon Mothma.
You're right. You're
Very
right.
brave of you to say, Brandon.
Yeah, real bold.
You're really out there on an island.
It is peak Akbar, though. It does.
Oh, I would agree.
It does beat his. It's one thing I don't like about the sequels. Like you could
we'll
see him in the background.
Yeah,
but
we'll get there.
Yeah,
you're like, is that him or is that just some guy that looks like him?
Yeah,
we'll get there. I got a lot of thoughts on the treatment of Gail Akbar.
And Nine Nub.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you know what? The one credit I'll give the sequels to Nine Nub is that he is still a service pilot in the sequels. right? Like,
Never got a promotion.
well, no.
enough.
I think that's what he wants to do, right? Like, he's the veteran in the cockpit.
Sure,
for
He
those
was the
films.
co-pilot that blew up the second Death
Sure,
Star.
and now
Damn.
they strapped it in an X-wing and let
and
him
he's
go.
got to
fucking
take
blow
orders
shit up.
from fucking Ray and Poe and Finn.
You know what? I actually.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I actually
the
think he's
Spice
taking-
Runner, the Stormtrooper, and the Scoundrel are telling me, the guy who blew up the second Death Star, what to do.
Well,
Spice
did
Runner.
the Falcon.
I've got a Spice Runner rant for you too.
I'm jumping to so many.
Yeah,
other
yeah.
movies.
But I want to get to.
It's all connected, Sean.
Is it though?
I mean, kind of.
Okay, well.
Well, stay tuned for fucking 6 weeks from now, where you hear my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker.
So Chewie's already been captured. Lando's in disguise. Leia comes in.
What a great disguise for Lando.
and yeah, like,
Yeah, I didn't
just-
recognize him.
Honestly, the first time, even you wouldn't think to look for Lando.
When I was a kid, I just thought it was like such a horrible disguise. I'm like, I thought he was like trying to look like an alien, like, just doing a horrible
The face
job.
mask.
But also, does Jabba know what Lando looks like?
But then I guess he's just like wearing a mask. Like,
What history does Lando have with Jabba?
We don't know.
We don't know. So there you go.
you'd think some.
Well,
you would think.
yeah.
Somewhere. I mean,
He's probably like the Lando I knew looked like Donald Glover. This is not my Lando.
Is that what Jabba sounds like to you?
Yeah, well, I don't know how to speak Huttonese, so
McClunky.
Hutties, right?
Hutties?
So we get this interaction with Leia and Han, and it's very sweet. It's very nice, and I think it's interesting that this was kind of a contingency if Harrison Ford wasn't going to come back
You're
suffering
from
to finish the trilogy.
sickness.
Yeah, which is it's really interesting that she's speaking. What's the language that Leia's speaking in the
Ubies.
Ubies, and then she switches over to English.
Yeah, if you there's video from, I believe, EC
Or
Henry.
basic, rather. I'm sorry, basic.
I believe it's EC Henry. It may be another YouTuber, but there's a video where someone tries to break down the Ubies language.
Oh wow!
And it's like not with the way the subtitles are for the language. It's not like a functional language.
Okay.
But then if you really break down the like syllables, because it sounds like they're saying yate, yate,
Yeah.
which is the same word, but they're emphasized a little bit different. So like he's trying to make it a
wow.
functional.
I see what
Yeah.
you're
So
saying
it's
there.
super
Jesus.
interesting. There's another one for Geonosian, and it actually you can learn to speak
Holy crap!
Geonosian off
That's
that
re-
video.
that's
really?
Yeah, it takes a bunch of Poggle clips.
Oh my gosh!
the buzz.
Oh wow!
It's
Lord.
super interesting. But
We
yeah,
should learn how
it's-
to do that. We should do a whole podcast.
I think we. You know what? That'll be a Scoundrels drink one day. We'll
Gonna need
learn.
to be.
We'll learn.
Boy, I'll tell you what. If, on Scoundrels, I'll be speaking some other language.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it'll be a Star Wars language.
Do you speak Bachi?
Ichuta.
Rude.
Yeah, I agree. I love the little reuniting scene with Han and Leia, and then the lights come up and
you.
and Jabba's just there laughing.
Like you've been punked. Like
Yeah.
it was like Ashton comes out
Yeah.
from behind the curtain. Like you
We got you. You're on hidden camera.
And then 3PO has his mouth covered like he opens his mouth to talk. Like he has a
Right.
speaker box. He can just bypass that. But which is funny. And I really love 3PO being the interpreter for Jabba, which they do make a reference to in Boba
He's
Fett.
holding a thermal detonator.
Well, I like when I forget what scene it is, but Jabba throws his arms back and 3PO falls
Yes.
off the.
And he comes back with like slime on his
Yeah.
face.
Salacious Crumb. Let's talk about Salacious B Crumb.
Okay.
He's the best.
I'm like he's fine.
How dare
Yeah,
Frank?
like he's an annoying POS,
more of a
and I'm
big-
like he
Sorry, that was
blew out
That was good.
everyone's ears.
I love how I backed
That was-
away
yeah, it was
like
good.
I don't have the headphones on my head.
Oh man, I'm sure Jill just loves that in the morning.
I don't do it in the morning.
Okie dokie, moving on. But it's a Salacious is funny, but in very limited quantities.
Sure. Yeah. I think he's in the movie the perfect amount.
Yes, actually, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. But now we get Luke coming in, try to save the day. We talked about that a little bit, but the Rancor scene is probably so
Now, Frank,
iconic.
you missed
Oh, what did I miss?
one of the best parts about Jabba's palace.
which
The
is
exotic dancers.
The exotic dancers and the in-universe music.
Oh, I thought I was gonna get past it, but he brought it up, Brandon.
Now let's talk about Ja Yowza.
Okay, take it away, man. This is your arena.
No.
No.
Oh, louder.
I'm kind of
Jedi Rocks.
I'm kind of sad that Kevin hasn't sent us a prepared statement for
No,
this.
Kevin did not send us a prepared statement.
Damn.
So I will read Kevin's prepared statement.
This episode is sponsored by Olipop Vintage Cola Sparkling Tonic, Prebiotics, Botanicals, Plant Fiber.
From the mouth of Kevin Smets.
Not a sponsor.
Jedi Rocks is such a vast improvement upon the sacrilege that is Lapti Nek.
Okay, well, this is obviously...
Lapti Nek tries to take what the Cantina band did and evolve on it, and all it does is make a muddled mess of music.
Would you be so kind as to show your screen to the camera?
Yeah, here's Kevin's text.
No, show. There's nothing on there.
No, there's nothing on there. Yeah,
Can you sing Lapti Nek? Because I can't sing.
So that's my issue, right?
Put it together.
I don't remember Lapti Nek. I've gone back and been like, people say this was better than Jedi Rocks, and listened to it, and it's in one ear out the other. Jedi Rocks is actually catchy.
Yeah, for better or worse, however you like it.
For better or worse, it's actually catchy, and I think it's a lot of fun, and it's something that like Star Wars needs.
Sure.
Is that dose of like, this is a silly, campy movie, right? And you look at what we've got in.
Did you like that episode of Visions then?
I did.
Okay,
I did. I really did.
I forget the name of it. But
Actually,
yes.
I think it's like the second or third episode with the band.
Yeah, the band. Yeah.
Singing at the Boonta Eve Classic.
It does seem a little out of place. Like I just feel like George Lucas does these special editions. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna turn them into the movies I always wanted to make, and I'm gonna take one of the greatest fantasy films and just put like a CGI musical number just somewhere in there.
But it's kind of in there already.
Yeah, but
It's just turned up to 11 with, CGI dancers and stuff. Okay, so here's my thought, right? If you go look at The Force Awakens and Solo, both of them also have another musical act in it. Because your four movies with musical acts, you have A New Hope,
Right.
Return, Solo, and Force Awakens.
you're talking about Maz Kanata's.
Yeah, Jabba Flow and Maz Kanata's. Jabba Flow is not really music that we would get here, but I would argue it doesn't really sound like Star Wars music. It almost sounds like something out of Guardians to me.
I mean, it's 30 years.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, sure, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I like Jabba Flow a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know the song that they sing on the. Oh, what's the name of his ship? I'm blanking on. I haven't seen Solo in a while.
Oh my gosh.
You're talking about Voss's ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the new.
why
It's
can't
the
I
is it
think
the
of
Horizon or the.
Kevin would know. He loves
It's something sun related. I know that.
Sun. Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah, so it's the Horizon or it's the. It'll come to me. Anyways,
Crimson
no.
Dynamo.
No. But anyways, same deal with, and I also can't remember the name of the two singers there. There's the one in, there's the woman, and then the one in
First Light.
First Light. There we go.
Elegant taste.
And then the head in the jar.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just singing jazz. Like it's not so that's my thing, right? Like the song in Jedi Rocks is like this jazz, or in Jabba's Palace, like this jazz rock.
Jizz.
Well, but I'm saying as far as a real world style, it's like this weird jazz rock kind of poppy thing.
I think he was right still.
Very, very 90s.
Yeah.
And very evocative of the jizz style that we get in Star Wars. For those that don't know, we're not talking about
although I could see how you'd be confused.
human ejaculate. We're talking about jizz
A
whalers.
human jacket, he said. A
human jackets.
Yeah.
A jizz whaler is a musician in Star Wars. They sing jizz music.
Oh, this is actually
canon. I'm not making this up.
Corporate. Who got this from corporate? Like honestly, someone was like, this will never get past the
I feel like-
execs.
See, George was like, To me, music is a lot like sex, so I want to make sure that
it rhymes.
our musicians are
feel
jizz
like
whalers.
After like a really hard day on set, he was just like taking a load off. He's like, you know what'd be really funny?
No, I think you know what I think happened. I think Rick McCallum came to him and was like, "Hey, so what's the style of music called in Star Wars?" He's like, "I don't fucking know. Can you just like take these questions to someone else?" And like, George, you're the only one that can answer it. Oh, I guess it's jizz. You jizz whaler. You know what
Honestly,
you are, Rick. You're a jizz whaler.
I want to know who submitted the name Jizz for music in Star Wars. I really want to know that.
Okay, but
is that
here's
out there
the thing.
somewhere?
Here's the thing. Jizz is just the word jazz.
It is.
With a letter change. But the fact that they're called jizz whalers.
Someone was like,
I feel like that's like how most like side things in Star Wars got a name. Like someone just like came up and asked
change a
George,
letter?
and he just got really annoyed with them. He's
It's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like so there's a Admiral Conan Motti.
Mm-hmm.
It's named after Conan O'Brien.
that's funny.
Do you know what Obi-Wan's homeworld is?
No.
It's Stew John,
Stu John?
named after
Sturgis?
John Stewart.
John Stewart. Oh, okay.
So because there's a thing where talk show hosts would be like, "Hey, there's nothing named after this yet." You know, what's Obi-Wan's home planet? He's like, I don't know. It's it's Stew John. You know, it's Stew John. John.
Oh my god.
Does that make you feel better?
Wait, so what would my planet name would
shut
be?
you up, John.
Yeah. Does that shut you up, John?
Mine would be Fran Jan?
Asking me stupid questions. I want to talk about red
Or
tails.
Jan Fran. Mine would be Jan Fran?
Jan Fran.
Jan Fran. Wow.
Jan Fran. Jan Fran Minor.
You know what? You know what's an
Major.
underrated George Lucas
Prime.
project? Strange Magic.
I've never seen Strange Magic.
I've never seen that either.
Something about the primroses.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Anyways,
not great.
So you don't like Jedi Rocks?
No, I like Jedi Rocks. I like Lapti Nek. I really don't get bogged down in...
What's the name of this song, George? I don't know. Lapti Nek.
Lofty neck.
I don't know, Lapti Nek off. I don't know.
That alien, they've got a lumpy neck. Let's call it lofty neck.
I like Jedi Rocks. I mean, I also grew up at a time when the special editions come out and you get this song and this wacky character, right? And it's just like, okay, that's fun, that's cool.
Talking about sliced noodles?
Slice noodles.
George, what's this side character's name? I don't know. Prune Face. That make you feel better?
All right, I want to know. All right, I want an alien. The singer, she's just going to be all lips. What do you mean? What do you mean, George? She's got to have lips out to here. George, what do you mean? I want a potato with really skinny legs, and then she's just got lips that are like 4 foot out. You mean like really big? No. Her lips are 4 feet away from her face.
Like, man, and we'll call it. Her mouth looks like a noodle.
Yeah, so she's gonna be
noodle with lips at the end of it.
She's gonna be Psy Noodle. George, we can't call her that. Okay, fine. Psy Snoodles, because she's got a snoot noodle.
There you go. Wow.
Thanks, George.
So you are strongly in favor of Jedi Rocks.
I'm strongly in favor of Jedi Rocks, and at the end of this episode, you're going to find out I'm also strongly in favor of something else.
Okay.
And if anyone tells me I'm wrong on that, you're wrong.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if we're going to be best friends or if we're going to fight.
Interesting. I love this. Brandon, where do you stand on Jedi Rocks and Lapti Nek? Which one?
I can't remember what Lapti Nek sounds
Yes,
like.
exactly.
Fair enough.
Do I look like I've ever owned a version of Star Wars that wasn't a special edition?
Fair enough.
What am I going to go on the internet and get the despecialized edition, or God forbid, buy a Laserdisc machine?
Oh man. Anyways,
you're not going to get VHSs. Have you tried to watch a VHS recently?
No, but I imagine it's terrible.
It's bad.
It's like watching a little box in 480p.
I would still do it like once.
Sure.
Just to.
I mean, when I was a kid, I watched so many VHS tapes.
100%.
I was watching Return of the Jedi on VHS, and my parents told me they were getting a divorce.
Did that soften the blow? Or?
At what part of the movie?
Were you like, shut up, Mom? I'm watching Star Wars.
It was tough to watch for a little bit after that.
Oh, no.
Shut up, Mom. I'm
And then here you got Luke reconciling with his father, and meanwhile your plans are splitting up.
You know, I don't think I was young enough to think that deeply into it.
But like subconsciously, it probably hit you. You know.
The moral of the story is it was a VHS tape. It wasn't a DVD.
Oh, so once you got the DVDs, you're like, I totally forgot about my parents getting divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching the DVD when they got divorced. That's fine.
So it got better. And Disney Plus, I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Just now you're too removed, from the,
Yeah, when they added Darth Vader saying no, it became a completely different movie.
Okay, well we'll get there. We'll get there.
See, I was watching the version where he didn't say no when they got divorced, so I can watch the version when he does say no.
Yeah,
and it's like watching a different movie.
Okay, so let's talk about
Rancor.
The Rancor and the Sarlacc. The Rancor's great. Malakili is great.
Yeah, obviously, and it's such a what a nice little button.
We haven't gone through the movies in this much detail. The other ones.
But
you love Return of the Jedi because it's your favorite.
No, I wish we actually went more into detail in Empire.
It's actually my least favorite of the original trilogy.
Is this really?
Oh, really?
Is this true?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it goes to Empire, Hope, then this one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That is correct.
Interesting.
I think I'm in the reverse order now.
And that's putting the divorce thing aside.
Very big of you. Even if your parents had stayed together, you would feel the same way.
I'd feel the exact same
even
way.
Even if your mom walked in and said, Brandon, we want to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Dad and I are fine. We love each other very much.
We're actually getting back together.
Yeah.
And we're getting you a big wheel,
I feel it the exact same way, even if I only had to go to one house on Christmas.
Rancor.
I love you, Brandon.
The Rancor, what a...
Patissa.
The name
of the Rancor.
Of the
Batista.
Rancor.
Dave Batista.
Dave Batista.
That's him in the suit.
This was like such an interesting way to not demonstrate Luke had Jedi powers.
Right.
Like he was just completely...
He just sort of forgets about him.
He's like, listen, I can like grab stuff and like make a rock float. And I can choke... What are they? Pig people?
Yeah, Gamorreans.
I can choke pig people. I was going to say frog people for some reason.
You know what I think it is?
But that's Mandalorian.
I think he was like, man, the last time I was trapped in a cave with a weird monster.
Yeah. Not again.
It was too easy.
I got shoved inside a tauntaun.
Well, but he's like, it was too easy. I just force pulled that saber, cut the thing's arm off, bingo, bango, boombo, we're done. I think this time he's like, I want a challenge. What if I let him pick me up and I beat him to death with a bone?
I shoved it in his mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, I will say, I would like to think he uses the Force somewhat when he throws a rock at the door lock, right? I would like to think he hit that on the first go because he...
Why doesn't he just, try reasoning with it? We see baby Ahsoka and baby Grogu both go.
Anakin
and Ezra.
Hey, big monster, I love you. And they
Anakin
go,
and Ezra and Obi-Wan does it with the Vractal to an extent.
Oh,
yeah. And Anakin does it with the Reek.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we see most Jedi do some sort of
Luke
animal.
is just not an animal lover.
Luke, you guys heard it here first. Luke Skywalker,
but I think also
not a dog.
Luke,
not a dog person.
Luke and Star Wars PETA do not get along.
Luke was already though in a very combat oriented mindset. Going into
sure. Luke's a fighter pilot and a soldier.
Yeah, and so he's not. And look, you got a huge ass creature coming after you. It's like, are you going to try and play, pet the dog right now? Like, no.
Well, that's what a real Jedi would do.
I mean, sure.
Rey with that snake thing.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
absolutely
the basilisk.
Right. Yeah. So again, it kind of leads to his dark side sensibilities.
I would have just used the Force to be like, baby. And that would have been it.
I think it's a Vexus.
It's pronounced Nexus, and that's Star Trek.
Okay, well, we'll get to that later. So now they're all captured, and we get our way onto the sail barge.
Great music track, by the way.
I will say, let's get into the music real quick for this movie, because I think, for me, from start to finish, I think this movie has my favorite.
You're talking about the score.
Or score, yes.
I'm talking about the in-world music that's being played on the sail barge.
Well, we can talk about both.
The score is pretty iconic.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite
They-
score
how
of the
many
original trilogy.
They've used it in trailers. They used it in Attack of the
The
Clones
bump,
trailer.
yeah, where he's on the plank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of my
That's
favorite
good.
Yeah.
tracks in all of Star Wars. I don't know where does this score? Let's say score, Sean, rank for you. Let's just within the original trilogy. Let's say let's keep it to that.
There's too many Here's my problem.
Oh boy,
I know. I always got a thing. It's hard for me because I love a lot of individual tracks off of Empire and A New Hope.
sure,
Empire has some of my favorite tracks.
yeah.
But this one has Jedi Rocks and that other song that I'm going to talk about later.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we're talking
You
about
know
the
what?
score. I'm talking about the score.
I think it's tied for third.
tied for. You're talking about overall now, or just? I'm just
Yeah,
asking what
all three of no. All three of the original trilogy films are tied for third. They can't all be tied for first because that implies they're all first. They're all tied for third.
Okay, I got you.
There's the first and
Okay,
second
Roger-
slots aren't
Roger that.
occupied because
Gotcha.
they're all tied for third.
Roger that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite score of the original trilogy for sure. Just from start to finish. But yeah, I think actually my love for them increases, or I guess decreases, if you start at Return of the Jedi. It would go Return of the Jedi, then Empire, then A New Hope. That's how I would rank the original trilogy scores.
But you're a big score guy, so I'm
I
taking
am.
your word on.
I do.
on
I
this.
just think Return of the Jedi. There's a lot more. It gives you. It's a little bit more pulpy, especially in the beginning of the movie, right? Which I really appreciate. And so like all that stuff is really really fun for me to watch and to listen to. And yeah, I think the action on the sail barge in particular really heightens the score as well as the score heightening the action. So they work really really well in tandem, which is I think why my love for this score and as I think like you get into the throne room stuff and like that whole score as well, the whole Death Star battle. I mean, which is just like
You might be right.
and like they even use that in The Last Jedi when they're going through crate core whatever or some cave
The
system. Which
planet
when that kicks in that movie, I'm like hell yeah! Like I was so on board. So Return of the Jedi really has, I think, might be probably overall. I don't know. Revenge of the Sith is really great too, but for sure, Return of the Jedi is either 1 or 2 at this point for me.
Great.
All right, so the whole sail barge.
The sail barge scene's great.
I mean, we have at this point Slave Leia, which look.
Go on.
Growing up-
Go on, Frank. I can't wait to hear this.
Growing up, look, this is her most, for better or for worse, however you want to look at this, her most iconic, I feel like, image in Star Wars through the original trilogy.
I disagree with that, but okay.
You think like her white?
I think the white. Yeah.
That's always yeah. So
Empire Strikes Back.
No, A New Hope. Her initial.
Yeah,
Well, that's I think that's the most iconic.
When she's wearing just a white bed sheet with a hole cut in her head.
Right.
I really like her look in Empire Strikes Back.
Sure.
I just think it's like
that's my favorite look.
the
for
most
sure.
practical.
my
100%,
it is not even like if we're going from an objective male gaze perspective, it's still not even my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll take Andor dress Leia
Ooh, that's a good one too.
or Empire Cloud City Leia.
I will say I
like a woman with a little bit of class.
I don't know what Irvin Kershner sounded like, but I imagine he was like, "Fuck the male gaze. She's gonna wear pants. She's a strong, independent woman."
Well, okay, so
Sweater.
I will say it's no longer called Slave Leia. It's called Hut Slayer Leia.
Yes, Hut Slayer, which is a phenomenal name.
Phenomenal name.
Called
It's a great
Prisoners
way
with
to kinda
Jobs,
like-
Leia.
Yeah, I will say because was that first mentioned in Bloodline or
Bloodline,
like in
yeah, the
canon-wise?
Nagri.
Wait, they say it in canon?
Yeah, the Nagri call her Hut Slayer Leia.
Yeah,
And
Bloodline.
they like revere in Bloodline the Nagri revere.
Who?
Is it the Nagri or is
I'm not, I
thinking
can't
of someone
remember
else?
that much.
I forget who it was.
That Avatar?
I might be mixing two Leia plot lines. I might be mixing
Oh,
the
okay.
Thrawn
I haven't
because in
watched those yet.
Thrawn the Nagri aren't in Bloodline. So in the Thrawn trilogy, the Nagri revere Leia for being the heir to Vader and killing Vader. So they see her as master now because they used to see Vader as their master. I forget who it was in.
Vader.
No.
Yeah, you're right. I don't remember whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm mixing that up with the Hutt Slayer plotline, and I forget who it was, but someone revered her as the Hutt Slayer in Bloodlines.
Yeah, well, she also had that stench of. They found out that she was Vader's daughter, so there was
Right.
there's that stench on her, and then also the Hutt Slayer, which is like really cool. But then you're also the daughter of Vader. How can we trust you, really?
Right.
So there's Bloodline's an interesting book.
How
Anyways.
hard could it be? It's not like he could run away.
Sure, sure. But canonically, Hutts are like super strong.
Yeah,
You know,
they're gangsters. And they have a lot of power and control.
yeah, I love the
The Hutts are gangsters. He says that. Phantom Menace.
That Canadian guy.
Canadian.
Yeah. No, it's not Canadian. I'm thinking of. Oh, why was I thinking of Rick Ollier
I
or
actually
Ali
think-
Captain Panaka?
Tanaka?
I actually
Tanaka,
think
yeah.
he's English.
Whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. Good for him if he is. I don't know. But yeah, the sail barge.
Sail barge is great. I
like
love
the interaction with R2 and 3PO. It's so great.
and I love the iconic lightsaber shooting out of the top
Dude.
of.
And this was, to me, I was like, this is very much reminiscent of like a mission that Anakin and R2 would have, right? I think they actually, don't they kind of do this in season 7, right?
Yeah, there's a few things
It's
that
like
are very
a little
similar.
right?
What do we think about the air
Clone
kick
Wars.
when he kicks the guy? but he
I don't
doesn't touch-
mind. I don't
the force
mind.
kick.
I
Just
feel
like,
like-
just like I don't mind the Boba Fett pratfall. Like
I feel like if like they had the capabilities in the special edition to just shift that guy more towards Luke's foot, so that it looks like there's contact.
no, because he's force kicking him.
he's not. Though.
He's absolutely force kicking him. What
It's a
what do
forceful
you mean?
kick.
You saying you can't channel the force through your foot? Only through your hand?
I just think that would be a silly power.
Well, he's holding the lightsaber with two hands, so he's got a force kick with his foot.
Should he not attempt to kick at all? What are you doing? What are you
Just
talking about?
kick him in the face.
He probably
next
realized
time.
I'm going to miss with this kick. I might as well use the force.
Anyways, it is that is a really silly
Yeah.
point to get
But I
hung
love
up
it.
on. No, it's fun to joke about,
just
but I
think
know there are people out there
if you-
who really dig their heels in on this.
Sure.
thing, which
Well,
is like
because
come
Luke
on.
didn't dig his heel into the chest of that guy.
Right,
yeah, I
right.
get
It would
it.
have taken them less time to digitally
Oh my
shift that
gosh,
guy
Brandon.
over than to make all of Jedi Rocks.
You know what I think they should have done? I think instead of shifting that guy over, they should have just made Luke's leg like Mr. Fantastic into him. Just stretch out.
Yeah.
One
Hey-
or the other.
Hey, so
I could do it in After.
Oh, because that would
Effects.
have been the bigger Luke theory.
you're right.
That would have fed into the bigger Luke
What if-
theory.
You're absolutely.
Oh
What if-
my god.
For a second, he realized, wait a minute, I'm not bigger Luke.
I'm smaller Luke.
My legs don't go this far.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
no.
if he was bigger Luke,
You
which
could've-
he thought
Yeah.
thought he was bigger Luke,
Dang.
so he missed the
So we
kick.
missed.
All right. Speaking of bigger Luke and big additions, do you like basic boring Sarlacc pit, or do you like Chad special edition tentacle beak Sarlacc monster?
I don't like the beak.
You don't like the beak?
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do.
Well,
It-
screw
it
you
is-
guys.
I do. I'll tell you why. Because it's so fucking weird, right? It's like I'm thinking of like, Flash Gordon, weird pulp novel, space stuff. Like you've just got this weird alien stuck in the sand in the middle of the desert. What is it? I don't know.
Which is like that.
He's like freaking what is it?
What is it?
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, exactly.
Feed me.
That was actually what I was
Oh,
just
sure,
thinking. Was like
sure.
it's like a piranha plant.
Yeah.
It's stuck where it is. It's just gotta hope someone brings it food.
I like that it-
Jabba.
I like that it adds just a little bit more tension to the fact that it's actually it's more of a dynamic type of beast
Yeah.
that's in that sequence, as opposed to it's just like the world's deadliest ball pit, it's so yeah. But then Boba Fett gets kicked or
Boba
whatever.
Fett?
Yeah, Boba
Where?
Fett, where? It is a silly, pulpy death, and I'm sorry that your badass savior Mandalorian went out that way, but he did, and then now he
came
has his
back.
own series. Yeah, he has his own series. So there
Hey,
you go.
so this is gonna be a really long episode.
For Dead.
yeah,
Let's talk
Sounds of
about
Tatooine.
Yoda.
Let's go there.
Yoda dies.
What?
Impossible.
When 900 years old, you reach. Look as good. You will not.
Luke talks to Ghost Obi-Wan, confronts Obi-Wan.
Force sit. The infamous force sit.
The infamous Force sit.
Ghost sit?
How
Oh,
does
yeah.
he sit on a rock? If he's a ghost, well, like I said last episode, he implies that Force ghosts have no problem interacting with the world because he says that he can't interfere. But then in other times, he probably could interfere, which is why he said that.
But he doesn't want to.
But he doesn't want to. He doesn't believe in it.
No. No, it's not his place.
What do you got about the Yoda Obi-Wan scenes?
I mean, like, obviously, as a kid actually watching it, when I did finally watch Return of the Jedi, I was like, damn, Yoda dies. Like, I remember thinking, where does Luke go from here? What can't, like, he's all alone, seemingly.
No, because
And
there is another.
yes. And so
Skywalker.
when Yoda does get to that part, I remember rewinding that part of the VHS. Like, what did he just say? What I think
did.
he said, or did he say something
I'm
else?
glad you had time to rewind it. I was a little busy.
Going through a
Yeah.
divorce.
So you were hit with the 1-2. Yoda died, and then your parents got divorced.
Oh boy.
You're like, wait, what did he say? And then your mom walks in. Brandon, I have bad news.
Yeah, and he's like, Yoda spoke of another. Brandon, I have bad news. Who's the other?
Like, wait, I just got bad news, Mom.
just-
Yoda died.
But yeah, that part was so interesting to me, especially when Yoda disappears. It's like, okay, whoa. I know Obi-Wan disappeared, but now Yoda, do all Jedi just
See,
disappear?
that never shocked me. But I think maybe it's because of the 8, like, you know, because I don't have the same experience of you if remembering a time where I
Yeah.
hadn't seen Return. So for me, I'm just like, yeah, when a Jedi dies, they disappeared. It's weird that they burned Qui-Gon. Why'd they burn Qui-Gon?
That's, yeah.
Right? Like,
You hadn't figured it out yet.
I figured it out now.
No, but
No, he's talking
Qui-Gon,
about Qui-Gon
Qui-Gon
hadn't
hadn't
figured
figured
it
it
Oh, right,
out yet.
sure. But when I first saw it, I'm like,
Yeah, you
you
would
know.
think, oh, all Jedi must.
all Jedi must.
Yeah, that's true. But
Disappear.
yeah, then like the interaction with Obi-Wan and then your insights serve you well. It's like, okay, it's Leia. Where the hell? Oh, wait, they kissed last movie. That's weird. So I guess they really didn't know they were brother and
Nope.
sister. And the fact that Leia could be another Hope was really intriguing at the time as a kid and as like a first time watch.
Would they
it's
call
like,
that the New Hope?
right, the new, yeah. So I don't know. Like, this was also just, also having to learn that Luke must confront Vader in order to be a Jedi. I think was also very, like, okay, Luke is, yeah, he I guess he's not a Jedi, but he's got this one more, like, these are his Jedi trials, basically, right? Which is like a hell of a trial to take down
Yeah,
the
get your-
Emperor and Vader. Like, holy shit.
Get your hand cut off by Vader, and then now go face Vader and the Emperor
Yeah.
by yourself. By the way,
Exactly. Like, damn.
Obi-Wan had to kill Maul. That he basically bypassed the trials by taking
Right.
down Maul. Anakin had to take the trials though. What did Anakin have to do? A couple backflips,
couple backflips, yeah.
Yeah, couple.
fight a couple battle droids. Big whoop.
The briefing room is one of my favorites.
For sure.
There's this like element of excitement, tension. It's real campy. You get Mon Mothma, just monotone, one note running.
Crix
through her.
Madine.
Crix Madine, Gale,
Yeah. Gale.
Akbar.
Gale
Just-
Akbar.
that's his
I
first
always
name.
forget- I always forget that.
I
Yeah.
call him Gale. We're on a
Okay,
first
I'm sorry,
name
guys.
basis.
First name basis.
Who's the first person in Star Wars?
briefing.
Timeline wise, who's the first person in Star Wars to say it's a trap?
It's a trap.
Oh.
Oh.
Leia?
No. I thought it was 3PO, isn't it? I don't know. Wait, am I making
When
something up?
are you thinking 3PO?
When he's in Jabba's palace.
Okay, Brandon,
I'm thinking Cloud City.
Cloud City.
Oh.
It's a trap.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's right. When she's walking.
Yeah, but everyone gives credit to Gale.
Dang.
Because he says it way cooler.
I know, but I feel like my boy Gale's done dirty by that.
What if Leia was like, as she was like being dragged away, she's just like, Luke, it's a trap.
Someone made that edit. I'll make that edit. I don't care. But yeah, when they is that on what ship are they on?
They are, I believe, on Home One.
Home One. Okay, that's what I thought. and they get that briefing, and they show, the Death Star, and which doesn't look that big, right?
The Death Star?
Yeah, like in terms of like the hologram.
No, because it's a hologram.
Well, it's not to scale.
Yeah. Holograms are smaller than the actual thing.
Except in The Force Awakens.
Right. That's what I was like.
Snoke.
That's where I was kind of getting at. Interesting.
Snoke a giant?
Yeah, that's a weird.
But no, it was great to have. This is again one of the few times where the entire group is reunited throughout the trilogy. It was nice to get them
And Lando.
That's right.
And Wedge.
Lando.
Is Fake Wedge there?
Oh yeah, sure.
No, Fake Wedge died on the Battle of.
Oh.
But I'm just talking about with
R.I.P.
Han, Leia.
Cole Tackbright. His name's Cole Tackbright.
I'm just talking about with Han, Leia, Luke, 3PO, the droids, all in the Lambda shuttle. So it was, this whole idea of
It's an older
Han,
coach, sir, but it checks out.
of Han
I was
speaking
about
for
to let them pass.
like I wasn't going to speak for you, but it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah.
Or pal, I think he says.
I'm endangering the mission. I shouldn't have come. Not everything's about you, Luke.
And then Lando's in Han's clothes, asking to borrow the Falcon.
He didn't ask to borrow him.
I know. I love that. I do love that scene. Where
It's a great scene. Yeah.
not a scratch.
They really
I got your word now.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, take my ship. Don't you dare take it into a battle and get shot, you jerk.
So I feel like that scene like really foreshadows a Han Solo death that never came.
Yeah, I think that was.
Where he's basically like, take good care of my ship now, not a scratch. He's like, I'm gonna get it back. It's like, but like he wouldn't get it back.
Right.
In theory, if he died.
Because when would you have killed Han Solo off in this film?
I mean, it would have to be on the forest moon of Endor.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be to set up the charges, I guess. Like he'd be the one.
Ooh, a sacrifice. Yeah, noble sacrifice.
Like I gotta set up the charges, and
I like that.
the only way to do it.
I like
But
that.
I actually do like that they did not kill Han.
Sure.
Because I do like this.
Yeah,
Look.
there we go. He blows himself up. Don't mean to cut you off. He blows himself up. He says, "I love you," and then Leia says, "I know."
No, I think you got to play it the other way. Leia says, "I love you." He says, "I know."
Again?
They write it down there.
Well, no, I think they put it there instead of where they put it.
Oh, right, sure. Yeah. Or you could have just done "I love you," and she says, "I love you too." You could have done the old.
No. You keep the. You keep.
I
it the
think
way
you
it is.
switch it. Leia says, "I know," and then
But we already have that.
waterworks.
But we
Because
already
it's
have-
reversed.
I know, but I think that if his last lines, his last line is "I love you," it's showing that character evolution at his final moment.
Actually, what you
Right.
should do is he says it to Chewie.
Or 3PO. That's real character development.
Oh my god.
I always
can't
loved our
believe-
conversations, 3PO.
He's like Lando said this is a good time. 3PO, I love you. How do you quick aside? How do you feel about Lando and his relationship with droids?
I don't have one. I don't have an opinion.
Great, we'll talk about it when we get to Solo.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean he's got Lobot running around.
I don't know if it's ethical.
I don't either. That's my thought.
Yeah. Maybe if she didn't work for him.
Yeah,
And then she puts. Yeah. Anyways,
so we're on the Force Moon.
Shuttle Tidarium.
Yeah, Shuttle Tidarium.
Love that scene. One of my favorite.
It's
scenes.
great. It's great. I always look at that shot when the shuttle's flying really close to the Star Destroyer. I'm like, yo,
Fly casual.
fly casual. Great line.
Don't look like you're. What does he say? Don't look like you're trying to fly casual.
I don't know. Fly
Yeah.
casual. Yeah. Don't look like you're flying casual.
All right. We get speeder bike chases.
Oh, the sound effects on that.
Oh, we were
bad.
talking about that
That's
before.
bad.
You had that on when we got here. Boy, oh
What a
boy.
fun sequence. I mean, that's like a precursor to the pod race sequence, right?
Sure.
So it speaks
Far,
to
far
George's...
superior to the pod race sequence in my mind.
All right. Well, I disagree. If
Great.
only because of the technology that was able to produce what we got in episode 1.
So I think
But
it goes.
do
I
love
think it
the
goes
speeder bike chase.
pod race sequence.
Okay.
Sorry, I think it goes speeder bike.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
Pod racing.
Uh-huh.
Coruscant chase.
Sure.
Whatever I'm not thinking of.
They fly now?
They fly
They
now.
fly
Yeah, they
now.
fly now. That's the
Yeah, that one's yeah.
They
I would
fly
reverse
now.
I would say the same thing, but I would reverse.
Never underestimate a
two.
droid.
You know what? I actually might reverse. They fly now and the
Coruscant?
Don't say
Coruscant.
it.
Oh.
Attack of the Clones. Attack
Nah,
of the Clones.
man.
Talking about Attack of the Clones, and I love that movie.
I love that sequence.
I love that
Do
sequence
you?
too.
I do too. I like
But we'll
it.
talk about that in 2 weeks
Blast,
when
I
you're
hate
not
it
here.
when he does this.
I think
Such great character building.
the speeder bike chase though.
It's a good one.
You
I think he
see-
is a she.
Hey, Frank, what's
She
the
is a
center switch do?
changeling.
Jams are comms. Yeah.
Great.
Center switch. Yeah. I do love that Leia is so like gung ho and taking charge, and Luke is the one riding on the back.
Yeah.
And just the whole sequence is just so much fun. I love how you've seen the behind the scenes how they shot that, right? Where they just took that steady cam and just walked through the forest and then just sped it up like by 400 times or whatever it was. Really cool effect. And just a very, very Indiana Jones-esque sequence.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we had
really
not
does.
seen one
Yeah,
like that.
It really does remind me of Crystal Skull. That great chase sequence in Crystal Skull. You remember it. You watch Crystal Skull all the
The
time.
Jeep sequence.
Not enough monkeys.
Yeah, they got Ewoks, bro. But yeah, like this whole sequence is great, and then you see Luke use his lightsaber outside of obviously we've seen him in the sail barge, but to deflect the blaster bullets like that, and
then cut off the
speeder
front
bike.
forks.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
We meet Wicket.
Yeah.
Wonderful Warwick Davis.
Blinking or no blinking?
Oh, no blinking.
I'm
please.
pro blink.
I do not like the blink.
I am. Let me tell you what. Have you rewatched something without the blink recently?
I always look away before they blink. So
Okay,
yes.
but no. Serious question, right?
I just know that it just looks weird to me every time I see it.
Let me tell you. Go watch Caravan of Courage. Which
Just like this the whole time. Just
yeah,
like
cold dead eyes. They're just cold dead unblinking scares. It is not. The blinks need to be there. Once you see Ewoks blink, it's weird that they don't.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I should watch.
You need to go back, like,
non-blink.
yeah.
I'll look up the non-blink on YouTube. I guess
You should go watch the Ewok scenes
Yeah.
in Return of the Jedi, and then go watch Caravan of Courage.
Well, I won't do that,
You should.
but I'll look up the OG version of Return of the Jedi.
It is. I haven't gone back and watched Return of the Jedi without blinking, but I'm pro blink.
I haven't blinked since we started this conversation.
No, I've edited them
Brandon,
in for this
Brandon,
episode.
where do you stand on the blinking?
I feel like it's unnecessary, but now I'm not so sure. You bring up an interesting
Yeah,
point.
it's creepy.
How do you feel about me? Am I creepy right now?
No, because I can tell you want to blink.
I saw this trick on TikTok where if you pretend like you're blinking, it helps, and I think it does. Because I have not blinked once.
So if you just like imagine yourself blinking, it helps.
yeah.
So
Okay.
like your eyes just watering and drying up. That's normal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blinking in my
I
imagination.
Well,
gotta close my eyes.
Brandon-
I can't stand
Brandon
it
has a-
not blinking.
Brandon has a condition where his eyes are just always dry, anyways.
Oh my gosh.
They
yeah,
do. My
so
allergies
I'm
really
I'm
mess me
pro
up.
blink.
Pro blinker.
That might have been a world record. Can we watch the tape? Roll that
Let's
back?
rewind that back. Yeah. Guinness, get on that.
Um,
But yeah, so he introduced to the Ewoks here.
Leia gets a mystery dress.
Mystery dress.
Bit weird that a beer company controls the world records and a tire company controls who is the best restaurant. Am I right?
Is the Guinness? I don't know that the
It's
Guinness.
not.
Okay, so first off, the Michelin Guide is in fact the tire company.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh
it is.
my god.
But I don't know if Guinness has anything to do with the beer company.
I think
Wait,
it
so
does.
Michelin tires was just like we gotta
well,
diversify.
they used to.
Like-
No. They used to produce these little travel guides.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
To encourage people to drive, so they use their tires.
Right.
Roger that.
And then it just kind of became its
No,
whole-
Roger that.
Roger that.
And they were really selective about what restaurants they gave stars to, and that's where the idea of the
Gotcha.
Michelin star
Dang,
comes
dang,
from.
They really just fell into that one, didn't they? Good for them, I guess. Ewoks mystery dress. Luke is
Would Dex's Diner get a Michelin star, you think?
No,
Have you
no,
tried
but
their
it would
job
be on.
reviews?
It would be on Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
dives. Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's. Well, hold on. We get R2 and its little saw blade.
Oh, R2 saw blade and C-3PO becomes a god. Right.
Who needs a lightsaber?
Swiss Army R2.
Yeah, this is great. I like this version of R2. Just like these little like attachments he's got.
I feel like there's
Ora.
almost like a Mandela effect with that scene. Like because he goes, Han, could you grab my lightsaber? And it creates like a false memory almost
that you think Han ignites the lightsaber,
and that's what cuts it. But it's R2.
no,
Yeah,
Han does ignite a lightsaber in the
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire. Yeah.
You thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Right. And they do.
How do you feel about the C-3PO God scene?
I think it's great.
It's great.
I think it's
super
great.
campy.
It's very funny, and
Which
it's just
leads
like,
into the
and it's like, I can't believe this would happen to a droid like 3PO, right? Like any other droid might be a little like
wouldn't do it.
yeah, wouldn't do it, or just but like 3PO is because I think it's interesting because he's so railed against by like Han and Leia, throughout some of the movies.
And now
right?
he's being
and
appreciated.
beloved, and,
And
held
then-
up as a god. Yeah,
And then once they're released, he's holding court.
and they need his help.
They're
right?
and they're doing the storytelling, which I love the storytelling scene.
Oh,
we've been talking about it all day. The looks on the Ewoks' faces, their unblinking, cold, dead eyes, and C-3PO
that little
tells the
baby
story.
Ewok.
Yeah.
Luke Vader.
So I want you to think about something. The rest of the Rebel Pathfinders
Okay.
are out
Yeah, they're
in the
out there.
cold jungle, while our heroes are having a feast with the
Well, look,
Ewoks.
Rex
They
is
got
somewhere
captured.
out there in the mud.
Remember, they got captured.
Sure. And then we're given a feast and a party,
Right.
and the rest of the Pathfinders are just there in the cold forest.
They're following orders.
Rex is
Good
eating,
soldiers
Rex is
follow
eating one of
orders.
those little sticks from Empire Strikes Back that like Yoda nibbles on.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I
I
want
this go big eating food like this.
Whatever he says.
That's what he says.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh boy. All right. Well, where do you want to take it next?
No, I'm saying I think it's really great that 3PO is now
Sure.
like they need Han needs 3POs.
I mean,
help,
I said, I think this is the best movie for all of our characters.
How do you think B2 would react? Like, oh, I'm not a god. Too much pressure. I need Marva.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Yeah, you're probably right. All right. Let's look. We're
Vader,
like an hour and 15 into this.
look.
We
it's
got
been a great
another
time.
20, 30, 40, 50,
Right.
Yeah.
60
If
minutes.
at this rate, we'll be here for almost as long as the film itself.
Hey, Vader and Luke, their first meeting on the moon, right? And they have this scene where Vader is talking to Luke, and Luke's surrendering, right? And Vader turns on his lightsaber, and it's just like, whoa, what's going on?
Constructed a new light.
Your powers
saber.
are complete, or your skills are complete.
Doesn't Palpatine say like, "Oh, much like your father's" or something like that to his about his lightsaber?
No.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Someone compares it to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's Obi-Wan's lightsaber. They even took Obi-Wan's lightsaber and modified it to make Luke's.
is that right?
Like the prop.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
in real life, but also in canon.
No, in canon, I would have to go back and look. There's a couple different sources for canon that it could come from.
Because
But-
those deleted
because
scenes aren't canon, right?
The deleted scenes are not canon. In canon, he has a lightsaber from the book Heir to the Jedi. It might be called Heir to the Jedi. He gets it from a Rhodian Jedi. But he also gets a lockbox from Obi-Wan's hut that I believe has Qui-Gon's lightsaber.
yeah.
So, which may be where he gets the green crystal, but they might have added something else now. Here's the thing with the more this is the era, they really focus on the era with the Star Wars comics, or had for a long time, between A New Hope and Empire, and then they kind of moved on to the bridge between Jedi and Empire and Jedi. So they keep adding things to the canon. So it's hard. I don't know what's.
But this
What's
is,
in
but the conversation between Vader and Luke is really interesting because Luke goes, "You're not bringing me to the Emperor right now. I can feel the conflict within you." And like Luke's even like let's go, let's get out of here, man. And it's just he's trying already, like in the most simplest ways. I don't even think Luke probably fully believes that in that moment Vader would just jet off with him, right?
Could you imagine?
He's like,
Whoa,
okay.
He just goes back with the rebellion after like being a notorious like genocidal maniac in the
Right.
galaxy. Like he just like he goes back to like hang out with like Mon Mothma and Akbar. Is like, hey guys,
Sorry about the war and all that.
Gale, good to see you.
I know I look really intimidating.
You probably don't recognize me with the red arm, Gale. I mean black armor.
Yeah.
Would he know Mon Mothma though? Maybe.
He might know Mon. I don't know that he would actually know Gale. I just
think-
wanted to imagine Vader calling him Gale.
I feel like Anakin, Padme, and Mon Mothma went out to dinner at least once.
Oh, sure, with Perrin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. What a. I'd
Yeah.
be a fly.
I
on
bet
that
Anakin and Perrin got along great.
one. Oh my god. No. No.
Well,
no.
Anakin,
Anakin,
you fought in the war. Tell me all about it. Anakin be like, yeah, I'm just a badass. You know?
Yeah. Be like, kids today, they don't want to work anymore.
Well, they would be the same age. What do you mean kids today? They'd both be like 20.
Yeah.
I just imagined that's what they would say.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what? I think Perrin is the one guy that Anakin still hung out with after becoming Vader.
I don't think so.
He's like, you know what? I'm not supposed to tell anyone who I am, but Perrin, I like you. I want to come to your dinner parties.
That would have been a funny scene in Andor.
Oh my god. Vader shows up to
Yeah.
a dinner
All
party.
right. So let's just wrap
He
up.
has done that before, technically.
Let's just
Empire.
wrap up the whole Luke stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because we already talked about a bunch of it.
Yeah.
The throne room scene is one of the best, and I struggle to call it a lightsaber fight because most of the lightsaber fights we have in Star Wars are, character shows up, there's a little bit of talking, then they fight, then the scene's over, right? Plot moves on. The throne room scene, that's a chunk of the movie, is Luke in the throne room, prisoner of Vader and the Emperor. The buildup of, I'm afraid that this battle station will be quite operational.
When your friends arrive.
It's so, the buildup, everything is so great. The Emperor is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, what a scary old dude.
In such a sinister way. He's totally over the top. He's totally ridiculous, but he's so sinister, and I love it. And it's just all, the throne room scene is just brilliant. Altogether brilliant. And when he tells the guards, to leave, just everything about that scene is so iconic. This is why it's my favorite Star Wars movie, right? It's all so well done. It's all so fun. And it has so much emotional and story and thematic weight at every turn in this film.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think the part that's really poignant is when Luke is confronted with the fact that the Emperor's like, your father, he ain't going anywhere.
Right.
He's mine, and soon you'll be my apprentice, blah, blah, blah.
And the fact that he's just strike me down.
Yeah.
Right.
And
the fact that he's just egging Luke on to attack him or attack Vader, strike one of them down. It's almost like the Emperor, in this scene, it makes it out to be the Emperor doesn't give a shit what happens to him or Vader so long as they turn Luke.
Sure. And this is where the beginning of the movie and Luke's overconfidence or arrogance and his powers kind of creeps back into, at least to my mind, whereas, is he going to turn? Is he going to, find himself seduced by the dark side here? Because he's kind of been dabbling. We see him dabble a little bit in some dark side tendencies in the beginning of the movie with the Force choke and
especially because they sort of foreshadow it with the Yoda scene, right?
Oh yeah.
By saying, "Hey, there is another hope," meaning we can have 3 more movies where
so
Leia
he might
becomes
not
hero.
So what if he turns here and then it's going to be up to Leia, right, to kind of come in and save the day? But so I think watching Luke having to struggle, actually struggling there with the light and the dark, I thought was really such a really powerful moment for him with his dad right there, who he's trying to bring back, but yet he has to, in order to hopefully turn his father back to the light, he has to go through the obstacle of himself being seduced by the dark side.
Well, and ultimately he fails, right? Ultimately Luke fails in this movie because he gives into his anger.
Yeah,
and attacks Vader, cuts off Vader's hand.
Well, first it starts with going after the Emperor. And
sure,
he
but
grabs
I mean,
sabers,
because his fight with Vader throughout the throne room, he's pretty practical. Yes, he does strike first, But for the most part with the fight, he's pretty practical. He's pretty rational. He's pretty, he's not doing anything that's overtly out of anger or fear.
Yeah.
Although, actually, I'll get to that. He does hide. He does begin to hide.
He does.
Out of fear.
Yeah.
And then we see him move to anger and go to strike Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got, the 3 stages of the dark side as Yoda says. That hatred on his face when Vader's against the rail and he's just pounding on Vader, that's why he fails. And the Emperor gets the upper hand on him.
Right.
And if it's not for Vader, if it's not for Anakin, the chosen one.
I have this, let me posit this question to you both. So obviously the turning point for Luke, or one of the turning points really, is when he cuts off Vader's hand and he recognizes, it's a pretty in your face type of correlation, right?
He's a cyborg like me.
And so he sees, what if Anakin what if Luke never cuts off that hand, right? Well, let's say he cuts down Vader, or not cuts down Vader, but let's say that part doesn't happen. Do you think he would still be able to pull back?
Either Luke's not, well, no, because I feel like, oh, sure, because then he turns, he throws the saber away.
That's it. Like, hold on a second, Like, what if that part never happens where he cuts off Vader's hand? Do you think he ever pulls back to see what he's really becoming in that moment?
Well, so
or
the
does
thing,
he fully,
because
be
he
seduced by the
stops,
dark side?
he stops because he sees Vader's severed hand and the sparks and the wires, and shows that because internally he's seeing that he's going down the same path that his father did, right?
Right.
He's now seeing those correlations. You take that scene and the scene in the cave, you put those together. He's afraid he is going to become the next Darth Vader, which is ultimately what the Emperor wants, right? The Emperor sees in him a unspoiled,
a younger,
more able pupil.
Right.
Right?
It's the Dooku situation all over again.
Sure.
It's like, I gotta get rid of old Dooku to get Anakin here.
Right.
Which is exactly what happens, right?
I think that had he... No, I think you're right. I think no matter how much we see Luke as the hero, and I think we'll talk about this when we get to the sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. So let's try to remember this conversation when we get to the sequels, right? I think were that not to happen, the things that he's afraid of in the sequel trilogy would have come to pass. And I think that he does know that too.
Yeah.
Right? I think he also knows that, and I think that explains his actions in the sequel trilogy.
I think so too.
If he didn't have that moment of, I'm going down the same path my father did, he would have never thrown the lightsaber away.
Whether you're the chosen one or not, or how powerful you are in the light side of the Force, you are always susceptible to being seduced by the dark side. No matter, like, if you are the son of the chosen one. Like, well, the chosen one flipped, for one.
Sure.
So, like, you are just as equally, fallible in that sense. But moreover, you are always tempted by the dark side. And I think at that point, Luke is... And that does carry over, I think, into the sequel trilogy and how he approaches the whole philosophy of a Jedi, really, and how he, thinks of Ben and whatnot. So, Ben Solo, that is. So, really, this fight it's not like one of my favorite aesthetic fights, but it is absolutely one of the most, if not the most meaningful in the entire saga.
Agreed.
Right?
Brandon,
how could it not be?
Brandon, Frank and I kind of monopolized that for a minute. We had our own podcast. What did you think of our podcast?
I'd rate it on iTunes 3 out of 5.
Could use some more Brandon.
Yeah, could use some more Brandon.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you do your
Sprinkle
own?
In some
do
Kevin,
your own
maybe.
podcast over there.
Hi, welcome to the Brandon Hanna Revenge of the Jedi Power Hour. And we're going to talk all about how that lightsaber fight was cool.
Yeah.
The green is nice. First time we see green on red lightsaber action.
True.
I always wonder who those guys dressed in purple, Palpatine's talking to.
Oh, those guys, yeah.
What do they talk about?
The
groupies?
What do they talk about?
I know one of them's named Sate Pestage, and there is...
Is one of them in Vader's castle or no? Is that one of them?
No, you're thinking of Vanny...
Did you guys catch that episode of Game of Thrones on the HoloNet last night?
Pretty wild stuff.
I'm a big fan of that Ares Targaryen guy. I think he had the right idea. If something were to happen to me, I also will burn my own kingdom.
I mean, something that we could talk about, but I feel like Sean's gonna.
Oh, love it then.
Hate
Yeah,
this.
do it. Absolutely.
Throw it at me, Brandon.
Well, you know how in Rise of Skywalker, when you strike the Emperor down in anger, his spirit supposedly passes into you, and he can kind of take.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So when he wants Luke to strike him down, does he try to take over Luke's body?
No.
And if so, when Vader stops Luke, he's actually saving his son.
Let's talk about this.
Oh,
so
I do like
so
that.
I'm gonna say no because everything we have. So I don't. I'm just gonna say this now.
Oh, now it's Sean's podcast.
Well, no, because Brandon phrased this to.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right, hey everyone, strap in. We're gonna talk about Star Wars and the
It's like
metaphysics.
It's like that scene in Blue Harvest where Peter Griffin as Han Solo is at the control desk in the detention center. He's like, "You're now listening to Smooth Sounds.
You're now
hello,
listening
listener."
to K103 Point Frank's house, where we film the podcast.
All right. What do you got?
So we're here talking about the metaphysics of the Force and the way the spirit can inhabit another Force vessel. So, Brandon, you raise an interesting question that in Rise of Skywalker, the Emperor wants Rey to strike him down in anger so that she can inhabit the body. He can inhabit her body. Now, I want to preface this by saying, while I do not love Rise of Skywalker, it's not my preferred. It's got flaws that we'll talk about in a few weeks. I do think this is one thing they establish well in that movie. The reason that the Emperor is able to inhabit the spirit of Rey, or the body of Rey, or hypothetically inhabit the body of one of his own clones, is because it is a compatible vessel. Luke is not.
Yeah, Brandon.
Luke is not a clone of or a descendant of Sheev. Therefore, Sheev would not be able to, in the long term, inhabit the vessel of Luke Skywalker. I also don't think his soul was yet severed from his body in the way that it was post his fall into the reactor core of the Death Star. I think his ability to transfer his life essence only comes after death. Now, granted, Luke striking him down would sever the soul from the vessel. However, I do think that movie does a very good job of establishing the fact that the reason he was already invested in cloning himself and the reason he was already invested in creating an offspring was in order to form the preferable vessel for himself, meaning an offspring of himself. Which brings me back to my theory about Grogu. That's one of the reasons he wants Grogu is to test the ability to clone a Force sensitive and retain Force sensitivity. It's one of the reasons why he didn't. The clone that is his son, was not a viable vessel because it wasn't a Force sensitive. So seeing that, because by the time of the Mandalorian, he would have already cloned his son.
And he would already know.
And he would already know that he cannot clone a viable Force-sensitive vessel. Or, yes.
Or create one.
So, Brandon, on this smooth-talking KFRNK 103.4567 Star Wars ASMR Hour.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Well, I have a counter argument.
Whoa! Don't say it so loud.
Yeah, Brandon, you need to.
I have a counter argument.
By the way, I hope we haven't lost any viewers from this.
Oh no,
we
we've lost them long ago.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
I mean, this is one of our long episodes where we're always
yeah.
afraid we're going to lose viewers, and then we find out, no, we loved it. That's what we want. We want you guys rambling for hours about Star Wars. Sure.
So, I mean, Palpatine obviously talks about in that movie how I am all the Sith. He talks about how he's all the Sith. And it's kind of, in my opinion, heavily implied that this is a generational thing with the Sith, where the master passes on down to the apprentice, and then they get an apprentice and they pass down to them. Another way I can look at that, and this is getting way into the weeds, but just to say this really quickly, if Palpatine did in fact kill his master in his sleep, that means he didn't strike his master down in anger because he didn't want his master to pass his consciousness into him.
Nothing says anger has to be overt or,
Yeah.
You can be
in the moment.
He was snoozing, and he very just calmly went.
he did like the yeah.
He turned it on.
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting question, but no, I don't think.
I don't know. So you could look at it from that way in Return of the Jedi when he goes to smack Palpatine in the face. Vader's not saving Palpatine; he's saving Luke because he knows.
Sure.
I think there's probably like an ounce of that, yes, but at the same time, he is protecting Palpatine.
And also, this whole time, there's a Sith Wayfinder behind the hidden door.
I also think there's that. I also think it's a little bit of the idea of if you strike me down, I will become more powerful. I think Vader is also aware of what happened to Obi-Wan when he killed Obi-Wan, so he doesn't want the same thing to happen to Palpatine, right? Because Vader doesn't necessarily understand the nature of becoming a Force ghost, which is expounded upon in the Clone Wars. But he probably doesn't want that to happen to Palpatine if he can help it.
I mean, because what if Vader lets Luke strike down Palpatine? Wouldn't just Vader and Luke? I mean, he would like to think. Yeah, Luke can just run the galaxy, right?
Sure.
So I think there is merit to what you're saying that he's more or less he's saving Luke,
which I guess is ultimately what Vader claims to want.
Right? He says an empire. Yeah. He's like, me and you, we can rule.
But there is more conflict in him, as is stated by Luke in this movie.
Sure.
I also just think he's kind of tired. He's like, you know what?
I definitely feel that.
Over this.
And based on when we finally see, is it Sebastian Shaw? When we finally see Sebastian Shaw when the helmet comes off, he's an old
eyebrows or no eyebrows.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. I'm a
dang. I never really paid attention to that.
I'm a no eyebrows guy.
Yeah,
he should have no eyebrows.
Right, but originally he had eyebrows.
He did.
Dang, I gotta go back.
Like big old bushy.
Yeah,
like make Brandon and I look like we don't have eyebrows.
Dang,
you already have.
Yeah, the eyebrows are edited out in the.
Oh man, I never really paid attention to
special editions. Well, if you were a special edition scholar,
I guess
like me,
if I was. Yeah. But man, so Luke, he's like, nah, I ain't playing your games anymore, Emperor. Tosses his lightsaber away like a Jedi. That's where he becomes a Jedi. Yeah. I feel like, right?
I agree. Yeah,
right. That's where he fully becomes a Jedi.
That moment,
and Palpatine recognizes as much.
Well, I think
Jedi,
actually, I'm gonna pause it. I think he becomes a Jedi when he turns himself into Vader. But I think that he's closed the door to stepping down the wrong path.
Sure. Okay.
When he throws the saber away.
Yeah.
Right? That is him finalizing that he will not be seduced by the dark side. But I think by that point, I think he's already a Jedi. In my mind. I think when he surrenders to Vader and accompanies Vader on
you think he's the Jedi
the landing platform, I think that's the first time we see Jedi Luke.
Interesting.
I definitely see it as like that's his moment of becoming a Jedi, but it's also like I think it's an important like lesson that he learns, but it's also for the audience to learn is that sometimes the only way to win is by not fighting at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a very Star Wars
100%.
How do you defeat evil? Like, don't fight them. Just peace.
Yeah. But then, you see, man, I was terrified as a kid seeing Luke getting fried like that. Weren't you terrified?
What if Luke was like, I take it back. I didn't know Force lightning was a thing. This hurts.
I don't know.
You didn't tell me how to block this shit, Obi-Wan.
I think it's a really poignant scene. I think it's a really awesome scene.
Should have taught him how to
I don't know that I would say I was terrified by it.
I mean, I think it just like as a kid. I mean, watching, I was like,
yeah.
I didn't like to see Luke in pain like that.
Yeah, the father.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, dude, when he's yelling "father," I'm like, bro, you are pulling all the twists and turns.
And then I remember as a child when Vader just goes, "No." I was like, yes. No. Yeah. So what do we feel about that?
Don't like.
Do you care? I don't care.
I don't care. I don't. But I also don't think it's necessary.
No, I don't either.
It's better without it.
Okay. I think the choice of, because is that where did that line come from? Is that a new line they should whatever the source of that line is, it's so badly done. I think I do like the idea of Vader vocalizing in some way, shape, or form in that spot. I just think the no.
The second no is where I'm like, I don't think we need that.
I think maybe the first no and then like a grunt I'm okay with.
Grunt.
Like as he heaves him over.
What if he just turned to him and went, "Bam, bam, 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 bam," and then picked him up?
He hits a button on his chest plate, start playing music, and just like, all right, palps.
My favorite song. He's like, I need to save you. You already have, Luke. He starts dancing.
Jah Yowza. I just like that Jah Yowza says his own name.
He's like Usher or Lady Gaga.
Yeah, he's got to promote himself. He's got a brand.
Yeah,
you know,
or someone else.
A lot of people say their own name.
Jason Derulo. It's a big one.
Yeah,
he's a big. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Vader fulfilling the prophecy, right? Being the chosen one.
Yeah,
we still have a
third of this movie left.
Oh well, I mean it's cool, so we can say that.
Sure,
but
should we?
And then another episode to film.
Yeah, that's.
Should we cut to the debate, or maybe?
No,
maybe
I want to cut to. I want to cut to my favorite part of this movie.
Okay.
The space battle.
Yeah, dude.
What a fucking banger of a space battle. The best space battle in Star Wars, maybe.
I think it is.
I think people give it the edge because it's the first one we've ever seen on that scale. I do kind of really love the Rogue One space battle.
For a multitude
of reasons.
I will say the Rogue One space battle is my favorite.
I will say Revenge of the Sith could have been the one if it was a little
less buzz droids.
No, not less buzz droids. If it wasn't so solely focused on Obi-Wan and Anakin.
I agree with that.
Like that one, I mean, just how they introduced the scope and scale of that battle, I'm like, holy
if I
crap.
could change one thing.
But you can't, because this is where the story is focused on, so it makes complete sense to follow those.
Sure, I agree.
Characters,
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But if I were to change one thing about Revenge of the Sith, there's a lot of things I think a lot of people would change about Revenge of the Sith. I would add 10 minutes to that space battle or 5 minutes to that space battle and show us a little more of the battle around.
That would have been fun.
You know, because you can cut between it, you know.
Sure. I mean, in terms of editing in a movie, it's not needed. Like, what they did was absolutely necessary, and
we're gonna, you know,
the movie. It was for like a movie.
We're gonna
get to the story and immersive.
We're gonna one day talk about space battles.
Yes, we will.
And what makes a good Star Wars space battle.
That's gonna be great.
Because I've got a stance on this.
But I will say, Return of the Jedi is the one. It's the
template that every space battle should have followed. Because great example to counter your argument about Revenge of the Sith is the Battle of Naboo.
Oh,
the Battle of Naboo effectively cuts between Anakin, who's our main plot thrust, and Bravo 1 and Bravo 2, and Bravo 5.
Yeah, but I don't think it's.
You're gonna say you don't think it's necessary, and I understand that you don't think it's necessary.
No, I don't find that distracting.
I don't think it had to be distracting. I don't think it had to be distracting to do it in Revenge either. I think you could have done it in Revenge without being distracted.
Maybe.
Because again, my biggest complaint about Rise of Skywalker is the space battle.
Yeah, I was gonna say. The Rogue One space battle makes me feel the way that they wanted me to feel with Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, with Rise, yeah.
Because with Rise of Skywalker, it's like they're supposed to be bringing these people in all over the galaxy and stuff like that, and you're supposed to like feel that impact when they all actually show up, but you don't because it's not earned. In Rogue One, it's earned because they set it up. Yeah. When they're like we're not gonna come, no one's gonna go there with you,
and the way they shoot the battle,
and then they slowly build into it like, oh, where's Admiral Raddus? Well, he's gone. He went to Scarif, and there's like a build up to it, and there's also like a sense of desperation, which is I think another reason why Return of the Jedi space shuttle works so well is because like they're backed into a corner in the same way, where like you have like that one A-wing like just totally like
Orville Krynid,
like
Green Leader,
like kamikazing himself
Yeah, the
into like a Star
Oldsmobile,
Destroyer. And so it's like we were pulling out all the stops. Like it's literally like win or die, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that aspect to it adds a lot of weight.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. I think it's the template by which all other Star Wars space battles are judged.
Absolutely, even to this day. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that if the Rogue Squadron movie ever happens, they have to have.
But I don't think the Rogue Squadron one will be aiming for this type of space
but
battle.
I think in terms of how you edit together a space battle like that,
And
which I think Rogue One did really well, and obviously Return of the Jedi I feel like it did that really well because you've seen all these pilots that you've never met before,
right? And I think that's important because for example,
you have your central with Lando, right?
For example, Rise of Skywalker doesn't do that. We only follow all the pilots we know.
Yeah,
and Rise could have benefited from seeing other pilots, or even the fact that we're going to talk about Rise of Skywalker later. But the same thing could have been done with Revenge of the Sith.
Sure.
I think we could have had a few cutaways to other pilots, what's going on in the battle, because they have establishing shots that do that. And one big thing was like we're not talking about okay. Great space battle.
I love it.
Great space battle. The banter and the technobabble and
it's a trap. I mean,
every great space battle clearly needs a Mon Calamari calling the shots.
Agreed. I agree.
We got to do it.
I think that's the key. That's why those are the top two.
I agree.
There you go.
I
So
can't
inside
power that magnitude.
Going inside the reactor core with that music again, it is so
my boy
banging,
Wedge.
dude.
My boy Wedge,
love
by the
it.
way. This is
Red Leader. He got promoted.
This is my
Nice.
concept art of Wedge Antilles
Ooh.
shirt. See, it says
That's a
close
nice-
up of
That's
Wedge
pretty cool.
moving into the
They can't hear you.
close up of Wedge moving in from.
But
right
is
to
that
left.
fake Wedge?
No, this is Wedge.
Because it's very confusing. Because when they first made the movie, fake Wedge was Wedge.
Then became fake Wedge after they got
This
Wedge.
is Wedge Prime
Wedge.
on my shirt. Yeah.
I'm a little confused with the timeline. When did real Wedge show up? When did they add him in?
When they realized the first Wedge they had was boring.
Now, is there a
So-
bigger Wedge?
So real,
Yeah, there is.
Wait, bigger Wedge
the
theory?
second Wedge
so
is
what
bigger than
real
the first.
Wedge was always in the movie, right? I'm getting myself really
Yeah,
confused.
real
here.
Wedge was always. In
He
the
was
movie.
always in the movie, so he had a different name when the movie first came out.
No. They were originally going to the first Wedge that they had that has the line in the briefing.
yeah.
Was originally supposed to be Wedge, and then they for some reason couldn't get him later, or didn't want to use him later, so they used Dennis Lawson instead as Wedge.
But Dennis Lawson was always in A New Hope.
I don't. What do you mean?
I'm so confused.
Like from release, from time
Yeah.
of release? Yeah,
The day it came out.
But the day it came out, both of the Wedges were in the film. Dennis Lawson was in the fighter battle as Wedge, and the other guy was in the briefing as Wedge. There were just two different actors playing the same character.
I think that's so confusing. I think this really supports the bigger Luke theory.
Right, because there's clearly a big... Because Dennis
Wedge.
Lawson is clearly the bigger
There's
Wedge.
no way they're the same height. There's no way.
No. And Lawson's a little bit of a thicker boy than the guy... Than
If there's a bigger Wedge, the logic dictates there must be a bigger
There's a bigger
Luke.
Luke. Yeah. I agree.
But
Frank?
great space battle. Love it.
He got promoted to Red
I
Leader because he was
adore
the
the
bigger
space
Wedge.
battle.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but whenever I would want to watch Return of the Jedi or like a Star Wars movie, or I'd always like fast forward to certain parts just to watch. Like this was always the part
I would
just fast forward. Like I don't need to watch the whole movie. I just want to watch a space battle right now, so I will pop it in and then fast forward to the spot and then
To
watch
this
it,
day,
you know?
to this day, I will occasionally
Will
still
you?
pull up on YouTube
Oh wow.
just the space battle portion, and it just edits out everything else, and it's
sure.
just the
Yeah,
space
yeah.
battle, and it is gorgeous. The way,
I did the same thing for Phantom Menace, but just the lightsaber sequences. Only,
sure,
you
great,
know? Yeah.
and I do it for Rogue One for the space battles.
Yeah.
The way the ships jump in, and when they get there,
Yeah.
and the build up to it, and the music, it's just wonderful, man.
It's fun. It's a fun sequence, but also at the same time harrowing because it's just like everything's hanging in the balance.
Yeah.
You know, with Luke on the Death Star, and you're like, and then obviously on the ground battle as well.
The ground battle's great. I can do with a little less Ewok, trap stuff, but I like it. I enjoy it. I
mean, it's also like, yo, you had like all those logs just set up on this ridge, and they just so happened. Nice, did you get it? Nice.
No, I didn't get it, but I hit it. So
Agitated the flea, whatever it was.
There was a fly.
Fly, not a flea.
What the fuck? I don't.
Flea was in Obi-Wan.
Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers was just buzzing around.
I just saw
from
Babylon
Obi-Wan
today,
Kenobi.
and Flea is in
You know, I'm gonna
Babylon.
go see Flea on Saturday.
Oh, cool. Tell him I say hi. So like the ground, like the Ewoks just have all this stuff set up.
I saw Babylon a few weeks ago.
Bonkers movie.
I've never seen Babylon.
Oh, dude. Anyways, I loved it.
Guys, tune in next week for our Babylon review.
For our Damien Chazelle episode.
Should he direct a Star Wars? God, no. Well, whatever.
Maybe.
Anyways, the Ewok stuff is funny.
I like it,
It
but
serves a purpose. It serves a thematic purpose.
As an adult, I
And-
see like from older
Yeah.
fans that were older when they first saw the movie. I see the complaints about the Ewoks.
We're all Han in that scenario, basically. We're all
Right.
just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
like I guess right. Because George's original vision was to have Wookiees,
Right. That would have been
which would have been
crazy.
badass. I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad they saved them for
for Revenge.
Revenge because I think
Yeah.
it works so much better. Like what we got in Revenge, they could not have possibly done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know.
No.
I mean, where are you going to find like 37, 10 guys? I mean, like
Well, I don't think you needed a bunch of 7-10 guys. I think you just needed
Peter to do like
no,
3 or 4
no,
different
but I
ones and
think you just
composite the
needed.
shot.
I think you just needed relatively tall guys and to shoot it.
I guess
correctly,
that's true.
You know.
Sure.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, it was either you have like 37, 10 guys or 33, 5 guys. I don't know.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
sure. I guess
George
I would have worked.
George was
I
like,
don't know.
yeah, figure out who you can get, and that's what we'll go with.
It's
Yeah.
less
Hey,
material
hey,
for
you
the
know
prop
what?
department,
You know
for the
what?
costume
If you
department,
can,
for
if
the
you,
Ewok.
if you, Mr. Marquand, if you can figure out what like which we can get more of,
Yeah.
we're gonna go that direction.
Which we can stretch this fabric way. We can make way more Ewok costumes than we can Wookiee costumes.
Yeah, someone comes like, George, we got a problem. We can either have 10 Wookiees
Yeah.
or 40 Ewoks.
Costume department comes. George, it's we only got enough material for half the Ewoks you want. Well, then what if we cut the Ewoks in half, huh? Or what if we cut the Wookiees in half, make them
yeah.
Ewoks?
Yeah.
All right, George, your call, man.
What if they don't?
Well, because even the
And
word
now we don't have enough material for them to blink.
because
George.
even the word Ewok is Wookiee.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You flop the E to
Right.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
And an O.
There's an O in Wookiee.
Yeah, but 2 O's in Wookiee, 1 O in Ewok.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, you
It's not an
alter the
Ewook. Right? It's not an Ewok. It's Ewok.
No, but you.
Yeah, I
it's,
don't.
you
I'm
know.
just messing with you.
Anyways, yeah. Then we get our wonderful Death Star explodes. We got that great fucking trench run alternative. The core,
Yeah, yeah.
the core run. Death Star explodes. Luke escapes the Death Star.
Dragging Darth Vader through the Death Star. If you're like the other Imperial officers, you're just like, wait, that's Darth Vader, bro. Like,
And then
I'm
we
outta here.
get.
I knew I
and
should have
then
come
we
to work
get-
today.
Then we get to the debate. Brandon,
Oh.
you take this one
Me?
because you don't know where I stand yet,
I don't know.
Ooh, let's go.
I'll start off by saying
but you clearly feel strongly about this.
I do feel strongly about this.
About what? About
The,
what exactly?
The
now?
ending song of this movie.
Uh-huh.
If you're a Yub Nub fan, or what was it just called something celebration, whatever, I don't know what it's called.
Endor celebration.
Endor celebration. I prefer the special edition version.
Hell yeah.
You, Frank.
I think I do prefer the special edition ending just because of how it.
better.
I think. To put it plainly, it's better. I do like it. I do like it
At the time.
and I can't really recall the original ending at this point.
It goes. Yep. Yep.
but like, I know the
Yup,
song, but like the
It's the same song. They're just saying yub.
no,
nub.
but the visual sequences is different. Because you don't get.
They don't cut to all
They
the
don't
planets.
cut away. They don't cut
That's
away
why
from
I'm
the
trying to
actual
remember
celebration.
the actual.
Well, no, it's the same thing. They're just not cutting away to the other
so
planets.
Just scrap that.
Yeah, the
stuff.
cutaways to the other planets are added with the new.
I mean, you're, at the time you're ending what's going to be a 6-episode saga. You just defeated the Empire more or less. That music hits way better.
Well, at the time, it wasn't necessarily the last movie.
Well, I thought. Wait.
Well, George had originally planned for more movies.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think he ever thought he was going to make them. No.
It's he says one thing and
Yeah.
means
I mean,
another,
I guess
right?
who really? Yeah.
It sounds way better than.
So you're pro celebration. You're pro celebration.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I think that the version I prefer is a musical masterpiece and one of my favorite tracks in Star Wars. And I think it's a celebration.
Hey.
And I think anyone who says the Yub Nub is better is fucking delusional. I feel strongly about this because the piece of music that we have now is literally brilliant. The sequences we get across the galaxy of the Empire falling. This was the first time we saw Coruscant.
Yeah.
We had never seen Coruscant before.
Naboo,
Coruscant.
but also Naboo, right?
Naboo might be added later, actually.
You think so?
I
After
don't know
Phantom
that was in the.
Okay.
I think
No, because the special editions came out
Yeah.
before the prequels.
But there was
but there
multiple
was
special
multiple
editions.
special editions.
It gets confusing.
No, but like the initial special edition,
and you
release
basically
does not have
hear
Naboo.
Jar. And
That's what I'm saying.
Does the '97 edition have Naboo?
is it?
It wouldn't because the
would-
prequels
But it
did not
had.
come out.
But it had Coruscant in '97.
It did.
It's good. It's tough because you
Did
also
it?
you also hear what sounds like Jar Jar Binks going, "We so
So
free."
free. Yeah.
Is that Jar Jar Binks?
It sounds like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my god! I always
We
forget
so
there's like
free.
multiple editions of the special.
Yeah.
editions.
So I don't think.
Oh
I
my
think.
God,
I think
George.
Naboo.
You're talking about 97, 2003, or 2011, or 2000.
I think Naboo. I
19.
think Naboo was added in 11.
Okay.
It's got to be.
But Coruscant
No,
was
before
added
11.
in '97, and they're ripping down that statue
Yeah,
of Palpatine.
Palpatine.
That is
great.
that
Yeah.
scene alone.
that was definitely part of the original special edition release. It's got to be
But-
because I
but
just
I'm
remember being enamored with like, oh
But I'm
my
saying
god,
that
that's the
scene,
capital.
that scene alone is like just the
I do remember like pausing it and just looking
Like,
at the
what
frame.
the hell?
Like what's going on in here? Like
and it's gorgeous,
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. I fucking don't. I don't understand the Yub Nub. I understand the nostalgia for Yub Nub, but like from an actual like what's better? The fucking celebration music is better, and there's no contest.
And like, unfortunately, I'm so far removed from watching the original ending. I really have. It's very hard. Well, not very hard. You go on YouTube, obviously, but it's like to go and watch the original cuts of any of these movies.
Well, and see, that's where
and-
like the I wish I could video edit in the way you and Kevin could, because I would make my own perfect copy. Like I think everyone almost. I wish you can go like to a website and like select from a drop down menu what you want in your Star Wars version, and everyone gets their own bespoke.
let's make our own cut.
Let's make our own
I'll
cut.
make the own cut. I'll make the own
Make the Scoundrel cut.
Scoundrel cut coming sometime.
I think we're gonna disagree on some of it though.
Well, we need Aldani and Ferrix in it. Make it happen.
Okay.
The celebrations when they cut from planet
Oh!
to planet.
We should show the event.
Yeah. It should
as part of
coalesce
the- yeah.
coalesce with the
Oh,
eye.
could you imagine with the eye? Yeah,
Yeah.
and Aldani.
Yeah.
That'd
I
be
think-
fun.
Yeah,
I want to see Brasso like holding two bricks surrounded by dead stormtroopers
Oh,
going.
man.
"Ah!"
If they have a great shot in season 2 of Andor where like perhaps Ferrix is like celebrating something, I'd love to incorporate that shot.
Yeah, I
That'd be
think
cool.
you know what I think. I think.
I mean, that's gonna be like 50.
you know what?
I think. I don't think you're getting it anytime soon.
I wanna see him
but I
holding
think
a
whenever we launch a Patreon, one of our like stretch goals for Patreon will include the Scoundrel cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do.
I want to see
That'd be fun.
Brasso holding a whole stack of bricks, and there's like a bunch of like stormtroopers on the ground. They're not dead, but they've like gotten knocked down. Maybe they're like a little dizzy, and he's just like chucking bricks at their heads one by one. And as he's doing it, he's going, "You bricked."
Well, friends,
That's what I
family.
want.
This has been our discussion of Star Wars Return
Of the Jedi.
of the Jedi. Listen,
Revenge of the Jedi. Some
Episode
circles.
6.
yeah. Hey, and if
Codename
anyone,
Blue Harvest.
if anyone wants to send me like a,
That's right.
If anyone wants to send me a original Revenge of the Jedi poster,
Dang.
let me know because I want one.
That'd be sweet.
That's like my great white whale for Star
Is
Wars
it?
stuff. It's the
It's just very expensive, not hard
I
to
know,
find. It's
I
just
know.
expensive.
Is
You can
it?
get one.
for an original one. You can
Oh,
get
an
like
original,
reproductions of them, but I
Yeah.
want I want the real deal.
I would like a Phantom Menace Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber.
You know what I want? I want the helmets.
That's more doable.
I want the
We can do
helmets.
that.
I want the original helmets the Ewoks play the bongos on from the celebration.
I've
That's what
got
I
one on
want.
my shelf.
No, I want the, like the whole setup.
Oh,
like
sure.
that, where I can just or whatever you know what the sound is. All right, that's been our talk for Return of the Jedi. Went pretty long. Well, duh, it's us.
Hayden
And,
Christensen or Sebastian Shaw,
Ooh,
Force
good-
Ghost.
Hayden,
before we-
Hayden.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Sebastian. If you are just tuning in to this one for the first time, we have also done A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, so you can go ahead and find those links in the description.
Down
and
below.
listen to those, watch those if you like. We're also going to be continuing the rest of the Skywalker Saga. We're doing them in release order, so that means after this one, we are going right into the Phantom Menace next week, which is going to be a ton of fun revisiting the prequels because I think we're all prequel kids. I'm kind of like original trilogy and prequel,
Yeah, you're
but
kind of on the line.
I'm like right in the middle, so that's been fun for me as a.
Well,
as a
what's
lifelong
interesting
Star
is
Wars
we're all prequel kids, but we all saw the originals first.
Yeah.
fan. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, we all saw
yeah.
we all none of us.
I
are-
spent more time as a kid with original trilogy, I think, than you guys before the prequels came out. So
Original, yeah, it was my first that I
It's
saw.
an interesting.
yeah.
Phantom Menace was the first one I saw in
That's an
theaters.
interesting. Because how old were you when you saw
I saw
Star Wars
the first one.
or your first Star Wars?
Well, I was like 4
I
or
was-
5.
Okay.
I think I was a little young to go to the theaters to watch the special editions. Like I wasn't too young to go to the theaters, but I'm too young to where I would have like remembered or
yeah.
appreciated
But I had, like,
it.
there's like 10 years of my childhood where I just had the original trilogy. you
But
know?
what we're saying is we've got a lot to
Yes.
say
saying
about
is Frank is old.
What we're saying is
Yeah.
Frank is 28, and we have a lot to say about the prequels. We have probably a lot to say about the sequels, so stay
my
tuned for
gosh,
that.
yeah.
And then after that, eventually, we're actually probably going to take some time off during Mandalorian to talk about Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Because we have Mandalorian and Bad Batch going on at the same time. Once Bad Batch ends, then we're going to get to Solo and Rogue One.
Eventually, yes. I don't know when I've scheduled that, but yeah, we're gonna.
I
talk
think
about
we
that
got
for
to do
sure.
the Clone Wars movie too.
No, we don't. We actually don't.
All right,
I just talked to our producer. We don't.
we don't.
I don't
And-
know. He's a big fan of Stinky.
Scoundrel. Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.